Good morning, welcome back to Dower House Farms, Beef and Crops Farm, East Cork in the south of Ireland. So, early start this morning now, on the shortest day of the year. It's about 6:30. It won't be bright for 2 hours nearly, but I'm just got all the feeding done there now today and right out, and I'm only here for a half day. So, I'm going to go through, I'm going to give a run through the diets there now as we're doing them. All the different diets. So I think I've 5 mixes to do. I've the bulls, the cows, and 3 weanling mixes. So let's get at it. Slow in the world to start. So first things first, like we do every day, we'll go around and push in all the silage and see what's what, how if they have anything left over or anything like that, we'll cut them back, or if we think they're short, we'll give them a little bit more. There's the pusher. For any of you who might be watching this who have a good few cattle in and have a load on, this is what you should buy for pushing in your silage. It is a serious job as opposed to pushing it in with the bucket of the load or anything. And what we do is sorry, no, it's locked there. What we do, if there's a little bit too much, you can pull it back with the arrow, so it's a super job. So these are a pen of weanlings. Just zoom in there now, show you how much they have left. Tiny bit left, which is bang on. It's not getting the feeding right with weanlings isn't as important as finishing cattle, because you're only going for sort of you're not trying to maximize growth. We're only sort of aiming for 0.7, 0.8 a day, and their potential is probably 1.1 a day maybe. So you don't have to get things bang on like you do with finishing cattle, but we sort of feed them always a little bit above the 0.7 or 0.8 just to allow for a little bit of inefficiency maybe. The pack pens might be a little bit overcrowded or whatever, so a smaller fella mightn't be getting his chance fully to eat. So we'll feed them to sort of 1 kilo a day, and we'll feed them to 1 kilo a day, and they'll probably do 0.8 or 0.9. So these are new cows. They all came this week, so that's just haylage. I'm just going to push it in there now, and it absolutely does not need to be pushed in. I don't know why I'm pushing it in at all, to tell you the truth. But anyway, and these are 2 boys that are just in their own little pen here. The crowded pens of bulls didn't really suit them, so they've that little pen there to themselves, and they're after turning inside out with a little bit of space there now. So this is the cows now, and this was pushed in. I was here late enough yesterday evening, so this was actually pushed in fairly late, and they have it licked down to the concrete. That's the one thing about when you've beat in, they're sort of inclined to be nosing through it a little bit, and they push a little bit out away from them that they can't get at, but they're a little bit short now, so I'm going to give command phone focus. So they're a little bit short, so I'm going to give them a bit extra now today. And these are a pen of bulls that were actually out when I left last night, so I'm going to give them a good bit extra today, which is a bit awkward now because I'm feeding today for 2 days. So yeah, I prefer, what we usually do is when we're increasing feed, we'll increase it today, and we won't, even if they don't have enough left tomorrow, even if they lick it today, right, and they've gone, say, 10 o'clock tonight, we won't increase it again tomorrow. We won't increase it 2 days in a row, because they might be very hungry now today and they'll eat a load extra, and they might do the same again tomorrow, but the third day then they won't. So you must give them a chance to get back into their routine before you go increasing it again. But I'm feeding them now for 2 days today, so I'll have to sort of give the increase for 2 days, so I just won't exactly know whether I'm right or wrong with the amount they're getting. So we'll start with the mix for the bulls, then we'll do the cows, then we'll do the weanlings here at home, then we must do 2 mixes for the weanlings on the outside yard. It's about 4.5 ton, which the feeder won't mix, but it will hold. So what I'll do is I'll do a mix, throw it out in the ground, do another mix, and then I'll load up the first mix on top of that one. It'll take like 5.5 ton, but it'll only mix about 3.5 ton. So no point in just firing in ingredients into the feeder and then not being mixed properly. So we'll back out to TM there now. So the first ingredient in our bull mix is sugar beet. We go sugar beet as opposed to fodder beet because the dry matter is higher. One of the drawbacks of feeding beet is it does bring down the overall dry matter of your diet a good bit. So sugar beet or fodder beet is, say, fodder beet is about 20, or fodder beet's about 18% dry matter and sugar beet's 24, so that's the difference. You know, it's 30% extra dry matter in sugar beet over fodder beet. So it's surprising when people are buying beet, if you offer them sugar beet or fodder beet, and fodder beet's like €1 a ton or €2 a ton cheaper, they'll go for that. It makes zero sense in the wide earthly world. I'm chopping 2 buckets of beet out in the ground here now, so it'll make doing the other mixes quicker. I won't have to be taking on off the beet bucket. So we use beet as our high energy feed source, beet and barley. Alright, 1 second now. I'm making a bit of a dog's dinner of this. Beet and barley are our 2 high energy feeds. So beet and barley have a sort of a similar composition. Now one is starch, one is sugar. So but they, per ton of dry matter, they have the sort of same amount of energy basically. But obviously barley is much higher dry matter than beet. But it brings sugar into the diet, which is very important. It makes it sweeter, so it dries intakes a little bit. Not as much as would be claimed by some people, but it does drive them a little bit. And yeah, it's just a good all-round feed. We can grow it per ton, we can grow it fairly cheaply, so per ton it works out a lot cheaper than barley. But if you feed too much, as I said already, you lower the overall dry matter of your diet, so that's why we don't fully replace barley with beet. Next is soya. We haven't bought in any protein, we haven't bought in any feed stuff on the farm for 2 years to feed our cattle. We grew everything, but this year we usually use red clover silage as our protein source, but with the lack of sun this year, red clover didn't perform, so we don't have enough bales, and also we're after feeding an awful lot more cattle than we thought we would. So we had to buy in soya. Soya is by far the best form of protein because it has rumen degradable protein and bypass protein. So that bypass protein is absorbed in the small intestine, I think. So it's just a far better type of protein than, say, distillers or that. But look, there's nothing wrong with distillers either, but soy is the bee's knees. So that's the soya in. come on, focus. So that's the soya in. This is our pile of soya here. Next is it's actually half half barley, half maize meal that I bought in. We usually use just barley that we grow ourselves, but we kept about 80 tonne this year, 85 tonne maybe. But we're out of that now in about a month, so I bought this half maize, half barley mix. And again, look, we don't have enough room, so I'll show you now. So this bay here, it's 3 bays long and about 20 feet wide. That's the only place we have to keep a home safe barley. So we put in about 85 tonne in there, but that's all gone now. So that's the barley done. I'm not recording putting it into the feeder because you've seen that 100 times before, and I'm using my phone. So we'll tip that back in there now. And this is the next one, is something I haven't fed in a long time, but we are this year soya hulls as a sort of a fibre source. Usually straw would be our sole fibre source that's fed in the farm, but again, look, bad year on straw, we didn't have enough of it. We have a lot of customers that we supply straw to every year, and we had to give them their fair amount, so we're buying in soya hulls. Look, our aim is to be 100% self-sufficient, but that's fine. But like, if you can only feed half the amount of cattle because you're 100% self-sufficient, in my view, that's not good business. Next is vitamins, minerals, and a yeast buffer. So just to keep all the rumen health and animal health, etc., in check. So next is straw. We feed a lot of straw in our diets. These are getting up nearly on a kilo of straw a head. So straw is imperative for putting fat on animals and just keeping their rumen health right. It's very, very underrated feed, but it's expensive. Straw is up on, Jesus boss, it's up on 100 how much a tonne would straw be this year? Jeez, it'll be up in 200 euro a tonne, I suppose. So next in the diet is high protein silage, made up of red clover silage. So we grow a lot of red clover, have done for a long number of years now. It didn't perform last year, but that's not dissimilar to any warm weather crop, to be fair. And clover is a warm weather crop. So look, it works well down where we are in East Cork, where we don't get that much rainfall and we get a nice bit of sunshine. Maybe not an ideal crop for other parts of the country, but it works well for us. Next up is maize silage. So there's, come on, focus. There's about 3/4 of a tonne of maize silage, about 10 kilos a head, and about 10 kilos a head of grass silage in the diet. So we were on whole crop up until today. Today we're just into the maize now. So we'll get the maize tested. It's a little bit wetter than the whole crop anyway. You can see that by the water flowing out of it. Cow mix now next. So sort of the same thing, but the cows don't get maize, they get extra beet instead, and they get a little bit of haylage, just to dry up the thing, to sort of counteract the maize. Cows have a bigger intake than bulls, so you don't want the complete diet to be as powerful as for bulls, because they get acidosis and they get sick. So when we're putting in the maize or the barley, the soya and the minerals, we turn off the power drive on the tractor just to stop the scales from jumping, because obviously when it's mixing the scales is jumping a bit, so just get it more accurate. This is the cow mix now mixing away. There's about 1 kilo of straw, 15 kilos of beet, about 8 or 10 kilos of silage, I think, and a couple of kilos of barley and 1 kilo of soya. So just make sure that it's all mixed properly now. See those lumps of straw? You want another one there, you want all them broken down fully. So what I did here for the new cows, I just sprinkled put out a small bit of ration along the front of the silage, and I'll come along with the loader there now later, and I'll just with the bucket and I'll just throw it up on top of the silage so they can have a little pick of it. Like, this is a very powerful diet for cows, so you need to build them up onto it slowly. It's not as powerful as the bulls, but they eat an awful lot more of it. So yeah, you need to build them up. We'll probably build them up over the space of next week now, and they'll be on full belt. There's 20, so that what's along that line, there's 20% of the ration for pen 4 and 20% of the ration for pen 3. There's 16 cows there and 12 cows there, so there's 20% along there now. I'll probably put out 30% tomorrow, 40% the day after, then I'll probably go up to 60 or 70% and build it up that way. Right, the weanling mix is next now. So in the weanling mix is high protein silage, maize silage, beet and soya. They don't get any barley. So it's a diet that has worked well for us for the last couple of years. We sort of get 0.7, 0.8 a day. It's probably devised, as I said earlier, to be up closer to 0.9 or 1 kilo. But that's how it works out, and we're happy with it. So we have the first 2 mixes done for the outside farm. We'll throw it out there now and we'll load it back up and we have the second mix done. So that's the first mix out there now. We'll do up the second mix, same thing again, load it up and head on. So that's how much 130 weanlings will eat in one day. Push it in here now to tidy it up so it's not in my way while I'm doing the next mix. Perfect. I don't really like doing this because you waste, like, no matter how meticulous you are about gathering it all up, you still have waste. And it needs must. Right, we'll get this first mix done, loaded up. Be all out to fill in now. It'll be fairly rigged up in the feeder, but anyway, there'll be about 5.5 ton, I think. So that is at her absolute limit. Alright, we'll get it into it. So that's what 5.5 ton looks like in the 10 cube feeder. She is loaded to the hilt. She loaded up like Santa's sleigh, boy. One more job to do now in the cattle front. I must bed down the cattle. There's 2 bales of bean straw out ready. We'll try to do that now. So this is how we scoop up the bales. If you can see there, we push them up against the A wall and scoop them up then. Lovely. Give it a bit of a flick back now just to get it back. Spot on. Another delivery of soya hulls, maize and barley keeps going over Christmas. Tom is going to have a roll. Good old scratch for himself. Useless dog check. Hi Pip. Pip is on guard. This is all Pip does. She stays on guard. That's as close to guarding as she does now. I know. Gotta teach the guard dog, boy. Big Jim is aimlessly walking around the yard looking for something to do.
What do you want to do now?
Will you go active forward drive shaft in the TM? Big Jim is the man, boy. He does a lot of our own maintenance and the gear and things for us. I love doing it, but I just don't have time to do it, so I do a fair share of it, but what I don't do, Big Jim does.